authentic conversations about ourselves and our community, exploring topics that uplift and inspire us, from personal growth to social change. So grab your teacup and get ready to join the conversation.
Going to be dragged into this. Who are we going to be seeing? Now, I am here. There are not going to be A-listers testifying, but that doesn't mean
Diddy has denied all wrongdoing, but even if he were to walk free after this trial that's expected to last 8 weeks, his time in a courtroom is just beginning.
he faces over 60, Billy, lawsuits, and I hear a brand new interview that is just out on CNN with an attorney who is representing dozens of those 60 accusers. Does this mean that you plan to file 400 individual claims against Sean Combs?
Yes, we do.
So his legal troubles are not ending anytime soon.
Guys, how'd you feel it went this morning?
So we have got Diddy's mom, Diddy's daughters by Kim, the son, little Sean, and who is this?
This morning.
One of Diddy's daughters, also by Kim Combs. I think this is one of Kim Combs' children. Or Kim Porter, sorry. Children. So let's go on over to be. And let's all watch and review the new TMZ United States versus Diddy. Thank you guys so much for sipping tea with me today. And we are sipping the first day of the Diddy trial. Okay, here it is.
Sean Diddy Combs is weeks away from finding out if he will be a free man or spend the rest of his living days in prison. A jury of 12 will decide if he committed heinous sex acts, federal crimes that could land him in prison for decades. 3 ex-girlfriends will testify. Diddy abused them, sexually assaulted them, raped them, drugged them. Sean Diddy Combs denies it all. His defense team is formidable. 8 highly experienced lawyers, but the prosecutors in this case are fierce. So we're at the end of week 1. Jury selection is wrapping up. Opening statements start Monday. We have some of the best legal minds in the country talking about what went on inside the courtroom, what's going on behind the scenes, what are the strategies, what's the buzz, what's the gossip.
I hope they fucking lock his ass up for the rest of his life. Put him underneath the jail.
TMZ presents United States versus Sean Combs inside the Diddy trial. And welcome to Inside the Diddy Trial. I'm Harvey Levin. Let's get right to it. Mark Garagos, in some way, shape, or form, represents Diddy, although we don't know if it's in the criminal case, and he won't say. Ebony K. Williams is the host of Equal Justice and Holding Court. Nancy Grace, host of Crime Stories with Nancy Grace. And Ashley Banfield, host of Banfield on News Nation, also host of the Drop Dead Serious podcast. Here are the stakes in this. Diddy faces 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. If he is convicted on all counts, he could face life in prison. We got a picture of Cassie yesterday, and I gotta say, she looks like she is ready to pop. And that woman is going to take the stand. And Diddy's defense is he's not a criminal, he's a swinger. And Cassie and others led a swinger's lifestyle. I think optics matter in every trial, and it's going to be a tough road for the defense to characterize her optically as a swinger when she comes into court pregnant and looks like she's ready to give birth.
Not only that, Harvey, super pregnant. She actually looks like I looked just a few months ago. I've got a 9-month here. You might hear her chiming in. She's got thoughts and opinions too here. Yeah, and optics matter, Harvey, here. And also, Cassie's not just a girl, a pregnant woman. She's a wife. She's now a mother. I think this is her 3rd child with her husband. She's a family woman now. So I think it's going to be a harder sell for the defense to sell her as this freewheeling, super promiscuous, in the lifestyle, goes for any and everything type of with the baby oil and swingers of it all when she's coming in as a married woman, very pregnant, in the family way, as they used to say.
She's right. Hey, Garagos, don't you think that's a very difficult cross-examination? Mark Garagos, when you have a pregnant lady, a mom, up on the stand, I mean, how cruel can you be? You can't really, shred her on the stand. A pregnant lady, you got to be really careful how you cross-examine certain witnesses, or the jury will turn on you. If they perceive you as a bullying someone, that's not going to go down very well at all. They got to be really wonderful
They
cross-examination.
have, they have threesomes on Wisteria Lane, guys. They have threesomes on Wisteria Lane, and we don't know what some of these jurors said when they whispered their embarrassing answers.
Okay,
It
Mark,
is.
Mark,
It is.
Mark,
There are
you got, Mark,
everywhere.
Mark, you got to answer. You got to answer Nancy because it's true.
I was gonna say, Nancy, I think will admit that there are various ways to cross-examine a witness. Mind you, if it's true that their witnesses, their star witnesses, are ex-girlfriends, presumably long-term ex-girlfriends, there are going to be good
an
times
ex-girlfriend
along
can't
with
be
the
raped.
bad times.
Okay.
Nobody, did I say that? And I don't
like the way you
know
and
that-
Levin keep slinging that around. They're all ex-girlfriends like that
when
makes
you
them,
say
they
slinging
can't be
it
raped.
around, no,
Nancy,
She
that's
asked
not
for
an
it.
opinion.
Nancy,
That's the connection.
if they are ex-girlfriends, presumably there were feelings and there were mutual feelings. If that's the case and you're doing a cross-examination, I would imagine
Mutual
that
feelings, my
somebody,
rear end. Combs
You
didn't
don't
care
think there
about
were
these
mutual
women. They were
feelings. Somebody-
pawns. Look, according to the
You know, I
state
know
and
you're
according to
gonna say that.
witnesses, Sean Combs would sit there and watch his phone and masturbate while he had his lighting director get the right angle on these women who were drugged so they
Right.
could be raped on video. Okay? They
So
call it
when
euphemistically a freak off.
So I'm going
They
to
didn't care
ask
about
you one
them.
more time if you want me to answer
Mm-hmm.
the question that originally was before you went on the polemic. The question is, how do you handle a witness like that? If it's an ex-girlfriend, if it's somebody who was at one time in love with him, then there is a different approach. You're not going to beat somebody over the
Yes,
head.
answer. You keep
in that
talking, but you never
situation.
get to the answer.
The answer is you're going to take a different approach. I just said you're not going to beat somebody over the head like that, especially if somebody is about to give birth. I mean, that's the last thing you're going to do. Why would you antagonize somebody who is a crucial witness when you've got jurors who are, I just was discussing with Harvey, they're watching every single thing you're doing in a courtroom. Jurors are focused on the witness, they're focused on the lawyers. No lawyer is going to antagonize a witness, especially an important witness, just to make some kind of
I hope you're right.
I want to show you something. There are opinions about this case that are just baked in. And this ultimately all goes to the Cassie video, I think. And so this is just a very small sampling of what a lot.
I'd just like to point out that not a single person has come forward to say that Diddy's innocent. Ain't nobody writing no character statement for Diddy because they know he did all of that.
You can't put nothing past a man that will deliberately inflict pain on the woman that he loves. I think he did everything. I think he did it all.
Diddy, your ass going up the river.
So, Ashley. Undeniably, this is going to happen when Cassie's on the stand. Prosecutors are going to show the video of Diddy viciously beating her.
Sure.
And you're going to have a pregnant woman describing what she went through. It seems to some, it's case over.
Yeah, but I think that, an assailant doesn't always a racketeer make. I think that's the argument. Like, this is definitely an assault, but is it a rape? Is it racketeering? Is it all of the other parts of it? Is it trafficking? So then it becomes his word against hers and his word against the others as well. I think there's always a defense. That's a terrible thing, without question. P.S. We didn't even show the video of him apologizing for it. He put it all over Instagram and all over social media and then took it down, but basically copped to having done that. So yeah, that's terrible stuff, but it doesn't meet all the other charges.
And to Ashley's point, Harvey, it's really, really terrible stuff. But in that video that she's referring to that was on social media, which I thought was just a bad tactical move by the part on Combs and co. But anyways, it could create, and his argument was, that was who I was on the worst day of my life. And I am not the entirety of the one horrible thing I did on the worst day of my life.
Oh,
now,
girl,
I don't know how many,
stop,
I don't know how many people,
that is not
Nancy,
even the law.
I don't know.
The law
how, well,
is one may immediately immediately regret the deed, but that does not negate what happened.
But he is
A
not charged
person.
with domestic. Nancy, he's not charged with assault, and you know that. To Ashley's point, he's not saying he didn't do anything.
I never
criminal,
said he was,
but that's
Ebony.
not the.
I'm telling you, if he gets in front of that jury and says that was me then and this is me now, good luck.
I'm not saying that everybody's going to buy that, Nancy, but what I am saying is it's a viable argument that says I am not necessarily guilty of the elements of conspiracy and racketeering simply because there may be this video showing me as a domestic
well, that's
abuser.
a different thing than what you
know what my
started with.
favorite thing
No,
is?
that's what
And
I'm
my
saying.
favorite thing having
when
helped try and prepare racketeering cases, that both of you are right. Ebony and Ashley are both right. That video does not prove racketeering.
Right.
But
And
it
my
does
favorite
prove
thing-
she was
the
getting
favorite thing,
dragged back
Nancy-
into that hotel room for a
Right.
freak off, and she was
I
trying to
love
get
cases.
away.
Well, hold
That
on,
was
hold
not
on.
Garagos.
Garagos,
Nobody was swinging.
that's not what the defense is going to argue. They're not going to say it was over a freak-off, right?
Yeah, I mean, the public filings dispute that. So I get that if that was the case, Nancy would have a point, but we haven't seen the evidence. So you got to wait and see the evidence, because
Well, if it's
clearly
consensual,
the defense
Garagos,
is not
why is he
saying that.
dragging her back by her collar?
No, you just,
Okay.
I just,
Guys,
what you
guys,
just
take it
said
from me. I'm
was
your perfect
for
juror.
a freak-off. You said
I-
for a freak-off.
In all the years that I've watched you guys do your jobs, and I don't mean the TV jobs, I mean, litigating. My favorite thing to see is a lawyer stand up in front of a jury in summation and say, I don't like my client. I know that you don't like my client. There are things that my client did that I hate, but he's not guilty of the things that are in front of you. And if you're good with that, and you at least tell the jury what their job is, then they can actually look at the charges and see, oh yeah, there's no assault charge here. Why'd they show me that video?
Our sources are telling us that this third alleged victim, one of the people listed in the indictment, a woman, former ex-girlfriend, not only doesn't want to take the stand next week, but we are told from the jump she never wanted to get involved in this case and has resisted, and prosecutors are having a really tough time. As we do this show right now, we are a day away from prosecutors telling us what they're going to do, whether they're going to try to call this woman, whether they'll remove her from the indictment. We don't know. Nancy, it seems weird to me that they would put somebody in an indictment who seems so unwilling.
Okay, first of all, this goes to everyone on the panel except Garagos. Here we go. Has nobody tried a case before? Because I recall trying a child sex trafficking case with similarities to the current case, and I lost my star witness. She did not want to testify. She was afraid. And I'm pretty sure this witness may have the same misgivings that my victim had. There is no need for it to alter the indictment, such as drop a count. They've got till the end of their case to produce that witness. So I think this is much ado about nothing right now. Let's see if she doesn't show up.
Mark?
Well, Nancy's got one point. I've seen cases where they try to do the case without the witness. Most jurors will tell you, in fact, I remember one vividly, most jurors will say, well, if they couldn't be bothered to show up, why am I going to pass judgment on the accused? So I think it's always an issue. I mean, you always want to have, if you're a prosecutor, you're always going to want, you're never going to choose to be in the position that Nancy just laid out as a prosecutor.
Say something new.
Yeah, you're not going to.
Please,
I know
say
that
something
is,
new. Of course, you want your witness, duh. But if the witness doesn't show, or she's been paid off, or she's afraid, she's not going to show. They've got till the end of the case to put her up. And if she doesn't show by the end of the state's case, they drop the count.
Not necessarily. I've seen
Well, the good
cases
news
where
here,
they
though,
don't.
here's what's really great, though, right, is that the prosecutors aren't relying only on victim potential witness number 3, right? We know for sure there's the named victim that will be testifying, the marquee witness we must think of her as, Cassandra Ventura, who in so many ways, her civil lawsuit set this whole thing afoot. And so many of us are familiar with her as a celebrity in her own right. And so thankfully for the prosecution, they're going to have her. I have to imagine, I'm hearing she might be number one, maybe number two. So while I totally agree with Nancy, it's not anything unusual to see a hesitant victim/witness here. Not so great for the prosecution, but I think they've got plenty to start with, to Nancy's point, as they have the duration of this trial to produce victim number 3.
Do you know what is weird? Is the lawyer going underground as well. And right away, I thought when the lawyer couldn't be reached, Nancy, I think you've got it. I suspect, I always smell a rat, that somebody got paid off and a lawyer doesn't want any part of this. So she is just, well, he or she is just, ghosting the court, which I cannot believe, because if that were an important witness, that could cost millions and millions of dollars. So a lawyer just waltzing off into the sunset, I think Nancy's made a good point. It's possible there's payoff.
Hey, Ash, this is what's happening, Ash. It's like when Mark Garagos calls me, I'm like, oh, it's Garagos, whatever.
But wait a minute. But wait a minute.
That's what's happening.
Yeah,
they don't want to say anything yet. The lawyer's not responding, so they're like, yeah, I'm not taking that call.
But
That's what's happening.
she was unwilling from the jump. It's not like something happened once the indictment came down. What we're told is she was never willing to testify.
But that's not entirely true. There's a report, and listen, I don't know her from Adam, so I'm just going off the reports that I read. And the New York Post had a report saying about a week ago, she informed the prosecutors she was good with using her real name instead of her pseudonym. So I'm shocked a week later. Maybe the media, all of a sudden, the explosion of media on Diddy, all leading up to the trial, got real.
Last week on the Two Angry Men podcast, Mark, you described the prosecutors in a way that really angered the judge.
Yes.
6 women, all white. All white.
Correct. That's my understanding. I've only seen a couple of them, or know of a couple of them, but my understanding is you got a 6-pack of white women.
So Nancy, what do you think of Garagos calling the prosecutors a 6-pack of white women?
I think that it was rude. I think it was misogynistic. And I think he got a, let me just say, booty reaming from the judge, because the judge didn't like it either. But what Garagos says outside the courtroom is really no concern of mine. Just like what we're saying right now should not concern the jurors. Garagos has an opinion. He's very, very successful of saying things just like that. Do I like it? No. Do I care? No. All I care about is what this jury hears. So Garagos spouting off as he is wont to do means nothing.
And by the way, Nancy never took it personally when I referred to bleach blonde former prosecutors, and I appreciate that. She and I
this is all natural, Garagos.
I
want to address something really important.
I'm not going to go there, Nancy.
Ashley is saying and Ebony is saying, and what Garagos is trying to say, although it takes him a really long time. What that video proves is that whatever was happening in that hotel room, be it freak off, be it a swinging situation, she didn't want part of that. It was not consensual. So when Diddy stands up, or his lawyers do, because he is not taking the stand, fat chance, and says, what I did wasn't a crime. It was all consensual. Don't hate me because I'm a swinger. They're not going to buy that, because he is literally dragging Cassie Ventura back into a hotel room. Okay? So that's not consensual right there.
Right.
And that is a small part of a bigger scheme of racketeering. Yes.
Like I said before, Nancy, the defense, I think, is not going to buy that. And they're not going to argue that. And I don't think the evidence is going to show that, but we'll wait and see. That's a heck of an argument if it were true, but I don't think that that's anywhere close to where any of this is headed. I think what you're going to see is that it's a different story. And so I would just counsel a little patience.
Well, look, I mean, Mark, if you're going to talk about it, because we know the look, we know the filings, what they say is that the fight was not over the freak-off. The fight was over a text message on Diddy's phone that Cassie saw involving another woman. So that's what they're laying out. I mean, they've as much said that, right?
Correct. And that's what I'm saying. So before we start constructing all kinds of theories based on something that I haven't seen, because I don't think
Of him
that's
beating
detailed
her
anywhere in the
booty
indictment.
in a hotel
That
hallway.
is,
Oh, okay.
so nobody is defending, least of all him, given his apology video. Nobody's defending what he did. However, it's the context of it. Is he guilty of domestic violence? Sure looks like it to me, and he copped to it. You got the tape, you got his thing. Domestic violence is not what he's charged with.
Ebony and Ashley, talk to me about something Johnny Cochran said during the O.J. Simpson case, and boy, do I remember it, where he just stood up and said, hey, race plays a part in everything. And he was certainly right in that case, that it played a huge part. Does race play a part in this case?
The late Johnny was right then, Harvey, and he's right. It would be applicable in this case. Here, for the simple fact that historically, when you think about Black men and kind of the profile and persona in which they are portrayed, even in mass media, themes of violence, propensity for sexual violence specifically, things of this nature come into play. We know at one time, Sean Combs' defense team was prepared to argue a kind of Mann Act style. This is the targeting of my client because he's a successful, wealthy celebrity Black man in America doing well, and we know that we must take them down, the man of it all. I do believe I'm hearing that they are sidelining that argument. Personally, I'm really glad they did. I don't think it's an accident that the one Black man who was on the Sean Combs defense team originally, coincidentally, we'll say, stepped off the team when we heard word of that argument making the light of day. I don't think it would be necessary to make that argument, but I don't think you have to make the argument in court with rhetoric, right? I think the subtext of the fact that you're not going to see Sean Combs and not see a Black man in America, his affect on Black culture and Black community, and the fact that we don't know the demographic, rather, of the rest of the victims, but certainly we know that Cassie Ventura is a woman of color. She is a woman who self-identifies of some level of Black descent. And so all of these dynamics, the relationship between Black men and Black women, the history of Black women not being believed when we assert ourselves as victims of violent crime, a la Meg Thee Stallion most recently, all of these themes are going to come up, Harvey.
Ashley, you've covered a bunch of cases where they somehow insert race into the equation. It just seems inevitable here.
Yeah, it's happened a lot. Well, two things. A, I think Ebony's right, and B, I think in part she's wrong. But I think she's very right in the fact that it's a good thing that they decided to jettison the idea that somehow the government is going to come after a really big, powerful man because he's Black. I think we're beyond thinking that the government, just wants to target people for that reason. And I think in the new Trump zeitgeist, it's even more so. I think people are really, really rejecting that generally. I don't know about the Southern District, of Manhattan, the jurors and, what they feel about that and how Trumpy they are. But I will say this, watching jury selection, a lot of them come from Westchester. And a lot of them, according to some court watchers, are just not very much jury of peers. And I know we don't deserve a jury that looks exactly like us, a jury of your peers is a jury of Americans, but most Americans think a jury of your peers should kind of reflect you and be somewhat reflective of your demographic. And in this particular case so far, it doesn't really reflect him. So some concerns, yes, about race, and some other concerns, no, not about race.
What about that, Nancy?
Speaking of Johnny, you realize that Johnny's last criminal trial was of Diddy in New York. And you also realize that one of your panelists was the partner, and I think the TV show, if I'm not mistaken, was Cochran and Grace. I don't think it was Grace and Cochran. And that was Johnny's last, in fact, he came out, as I remember.
It was in alphabetical order.
And as I remember,
hey, look, I learned a lot from Johnny.
Johnny had said, I'm not going to try
how he worked a jury,
cases.
how he worked a room. He just had that it factor. He walked in the room and everybody either wanted to be him or be with him. And he just had this affability that is rarely seen. And, he could convince anybody of anything.
Okay, this sounds like a presidential...
lawyer, rest his soul.
And I loved him as well. This sounds almost like this sounds like a Dan Quayle jab, but are you saying Mark Agnifilo is no Johnny Cochran? Because Agnifilo said that he is going to show that this is a takedown of a successful black man. Nancy?
Oh, no,
Can I get y'all in the middle of the road here?
What?
This is not about black and white. This is about money. It has been estimated that Combs at one time was worth $1 billion. That's with B as in brother, dollars worth about race. And if you want to talk about race, the vast majority of cases that I tried dealt with black victims. And I think you're losing sight of that. This is not about targeting him because he is a black male. These victims need somebody, just like Ebony said, very often minority females are ignored. Well, this is a chance to hear them and stand up for them in court.
To Nancy's point, just one comment on the victim profile, if you will, because it's not being talked about a lot. And unlike the OJ case, where to the extent, Johnny made that argument obviously very successfully on behalf of OJ, the victim there were two white people and a white woman in Nicole Brown Simpson. That's going to be very, again, possibly, we don't know the demographics of the other, but if we're looking at Cassie for sure, and most of the women historically that Sean Combs has been connected to, we're talking about women of color. And that's going to make a difference because, A, this is not 1995, this is 2025. And if Sean Combs gets a significant number of black women on that jury, or enough, shall we say, I do think it's going to play differently. I think that black women are tired of being overlooked. We're tired of being ignored. Generally speaking, they're tired of being kind of complicit victims in a society. And to Nancy's point, they want someone to pay for the victimhood, generally speaking, of black women. And it might be Sean Combs.
This is a new beginning.
Where common sense
is our common ground.
Where American values unite us
and don't divide us.
This is time to come together.
For you.
For me.
For all America.
Wow. They are paying bills. So are we. Thank you guys so much for viewing with Tanisha Talks Tees. The United States versus Sean Combs, the trial of the century. Y'all chime in. Let us know exactly where you are with what you feel is going on. Okay. Amber U says, oh, please. Oh, please what, Amber? Drop a little bit more tea in the chat. Oh, please, what? Is it about the black man statement? My kids just got in from school, y'all. That's the background that you hear. Anyway, is it the black man? They're back up. So is that what you're pleasing? Please let us know. Thank you for chiming in.
Amber's discussion between one Mark Garagos and a peeved judge, a judge who was pissed off that Mark talked about a six-pack of...
Thanks for watching. Remember to show your support by liking, subscribing, and sharing. It's a blessing. Keep your teacups filled and ready for my next upload. Until then, stay inspired and remember, always stay dipping.